これは痛むぞ。好きにあがいてみな。一掃してやろう。耐えれるものなら耐えてみろ。よし、実力を見せてみろ。もっと正確に。お遊びは終わりだ。つまらない。準備は終わった。これは痛むぞ。私が盾になります。折れない心で耐えられるかな。さあ、君たちに勝利を授けよう。お遊びは終わりだ。つまらない。一発だ。ビシッと。さて、カモン。これは痛むぞ。急げ、もっと正確に。これは痛むぞ。
準備はできて気づかれないさ。行こうか。
準備はもっと早く。急げ、好きにあがいてみな。
Hey guys, Misery here, back with another CZN video, and today, as you saw from the clip before, we have the full kit review on 9. So she will be in the game tomorrow when the update for Season 2 officially goes live, but we just had the dev livestream showcasing all of her cards and what she does and how she works, so I'm going to be explaining that in this video, making a full summary so you don't have to watch that livestream, but still being able to understand how 9 works. So starting off with her cards, we have 2/ basics and a back edge parry. So I presume you'll want to get rid of back edge parry and then maybe potentially keep the slashes. It depends what kind of comp you're running, because as you can see, it says the slash does 168% defense based damage. So yes, 9 is scaling off of defense just like Narja, which I presumed was going to be the case because I had a feeling that we were going to get Great Rift in Season 2 and it potentially be defense based for the first phase. So that's why they were pushing defense percent based units so much, like Narja and maybe even Calipe or Magna in the tower, since they have that defense percent modifier in there. But getting back to the slash card, 168% defense based damage, and it increases damage amount of exhaust cards by 15% for 1 turn, and that can have a max of 2 stacks. I'm pretty sure that works for any exhaust card and not just 9s, and if I haven't said it already, yes, 9 does exhaust, and she has a specific new set made specifically for her that increases the exhaust damage of order cards, so it potentially could work on Luke too. But this basic slash card could work as sort of maybe like an ally buff to your other allies that could potentially exhaust, maybe like Kayron, Luke, units like that who exhaust a lot. But yeah, and then her back edge parry just gives shield, nothing too important. And then finally getting on to her first card, Hugh. So her first card, this is going to be like her main card of her entire kit, and this is going to be her main source of damage. So basically everything in her kit revolves around this Hugh card, and you want to be trying to use Hugh as much as possible. So as you see on the screen right now, the Hugh card has Ephemeral, Unique, Initiation, and Exhaust. It has 420% defense based damage and has a new modifier called Incinerate, which basically what Incinerate does is that it levels up the Hugh card every time you use it. So you see it says create 1 Hugh level 1, that goes up to like level 3 for most epiphanies, and then once it's at level 3, that's like its max level and its max cap. But yeah, it kind of scales off the more times you use it. Basically, I won't be going into the epiphanies in this video because I want to save that for a different video when I actually make my specific guide for 9, and I figured I would just show off the base epiphanies for all the cards as of right now. So yeah, onto our next card, Experience Strike. 168% defense based damage, 20% damage based shield, increased damage amount of exhaust cards by 20% for 1 turn. So just like her basic, this could be used as an ally buff to your allies who exhaust, but this card also gives shield and does defense based damage. So preferably you want to be using this before Hugh so you can buff Hugh with this card and being able to combo so you get the most benefit out of Hugh. And then her next card, Fatal Strike, 168% defense based damage, increased damage amount by 20% for each cost of the highest cost exhaust card in hand, then exhaust exhaust that card. So since Hue is 3 cost, it would give an extra 60% and then exhaust it, which basically nets you 3 AP positive. Since Hue costs 3 AP, well technically it would be 2 since Fatal Strike costs 1, but it's still AP positive if you use Fatal Strike to activate Hue. And then she has an upgrade card called Counterblade. When shield is gained through an ability, 1 Honed Edge. So basically what Honed Edge does is that it increases defense based damage amount of attack cards by 20% for 1 turn, and this can stack up to 3 times. So basically just extra defense percent base damage on Counterblade with the Honed Edge. And then onto her last card, Fighting Spirit, 1 cost. Activate 1 highest cost attack cards of this unit in hand, then exhaust those cards. So this one would activate Hue and then exhaust it. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But either way, when Hue is activated, it exhausts anyway, so it works like Fatal Strike in a way because it exhausts the card without actually having to use all the AP needed to play that card. But I presume you're going to be wanting to exhaust a lot with 9, and especially using it on Hue because that's going to be her main card and main source of damage. And yeah, those are all her cards. Now onto the ego skill. So basically what her ego skill does is that it does 250% defense based damage to all enemies. So it's AoE hitting everyone, and it gives plus 50% damage amount for each point of the combined cost of the 2 highest cost cards, then exhaust those cards. So when I first read this, it sounded confusing, but the more I read it, the more I learned how it worked. So say you have a 2 cost card and a 3 cost card. 2 plus 3, the combined cost of those cards is 5, and then you get plus 50% damage amount for each point of the combined cost. So that'd be an extra plus 250% damage if the 2 highest cost cards are 2 and 3, making 5. Hopefully that explains it a lot better and helps you understand. And then it exhausts those cards. So preferably you want to be using her ego skill when you have Hue, because that card already exhausts anyways. If you use a highest cost card without exhaust and exhaust it, that can actually backfire on you if it's an important card. I could definitely see that happening to some people, but yeah, that's her ego skill. These are her card motion restorations. If you want to take a look on how her cards look animated, you get these by using the camera lenses in the rescue shop. Currently there's not too many ways to get them, so a lot of people are dry unless you have been saving them for, you know, maybe like your favorite character, or you just want to save for like a limited character, who knows. But yeah, those are her animated cards. And then onto her potentials. Her first major potential, plus 30% damage amount to the slash basic card, and adds the following effect. So this potential just increases the base damage of the basic card. It doesn't increase how much your exhaust cards actually do, which is unfortunate, but it's whatever. And then her next major potential node, plus 5% damage amount to 9's basic card slash, and if 9's defense is greater than 250, add an additional plus 5% to the modifier. So just more damage on her slash basic card basically for both those potentials. And then onto her last major potential node, if 9's defense is greater than 300, plus 5% order attribute damage amount, and for every 10 defense exceeding 300, add an additional plus 2% to the modifier, up to an additional plus 10%. So that caps out at 350 defense. Since it's the base of 300, then 2% for each 10 defense, up to 10%, so 350. Ideally, that's how much defense you want to have on her. So that will increase her damage for all of her cards since it's order attribute damage amount. And then surprisingly, for her being a Vanguard, the potential nodes leading up to the major ones are crit chance and critical damage. Usually only DPS have these. I was expecting her to have a defense percent node and maybe like an HP one, or maybe just one crit one in defense, but I was not expecting her to have both crit nodes. And then onto her manifest egos. So her E1 allows Fighting Spirit to be able to target instead of it being random. Because before, when she was at E0, you couldn't actually select what enemy you wanted to hit with this Fighting Spear when it activated the highest cost card in your hand, but now you can with E1. And then onto her E2. So her E2 creates a whole new card at the start of the battle called Exploit Opening. This card has Exhaust 2, Retrieve, and Retain, and it gives 1 vulnerable and 1 tenacity damage to the target. So since this has Retrieve, once you use it, it's going to come right back to your hand from the graveyard, and it has Exhaust 2. So you're going to be able to exhaust it easily since you can use it back to back and twice since it has Retrieve. So that's going to be 2 vulnerable and 2 tenacity damage for free since it's 0 cost and it's not going to cost you anything. And then her E3 seems pretty good. It gives an extra 150% defense based damage to all enemies, and then it doubles doubles the damage amount for each point of the combined cost of the 2 highest cost cards. So her ego skill is going to be nuking and doing a ton of AoE damage. If you stack defense on her, she's probably going to be hitting like a truck. And then onto her E4, when 9's cards are exhausted, gain 1 improvisation equal to the cost of that card. And improvisation gives plus 50% defense based damage amount to 9's attack cards for 1 turn. So if you use Hue, which is 3 cost, you'll instantly gain 3 improvisation, which is going to be an extra 150% defense based damage amount to her cards that turn. And then her E5 is just the same as everyone else's, it's the potential upgrades. And then onto her E6, when Hue cards are activated, inflict 15% of the damage dealt to the target as fixed damage. So basically additional damage. Honestly, it doesn't sound that good, but we don't know how good Hue is going to be and how hard it can hit. So depending how good it is, it could be decent, but from a value standpoint, I don't think it's going to be worth it unless you just love 9 or you are a whale. And yeah, those are all of her ego manifestations. We have 9's partner, Alcia. I think I'm saying that right. So basically what Alcia does is that she increases the assigned combatant's defense by 8 to 16% depending on the dupe, and then when an exhaust card of the assigned combatant is exhausted or activated, increase defense based damage amount of the next card used by 20 to 40% with a max of 1 stack. And when a 2 cost or higher card of the assigned combatant is exhausted, gain 100 to 200% fixed shield. So it's doing extra damage and giving you shield at the same time, which is going to be good for being able to be versatile and, you know, heal, aka shield, and do damage. And then her ego skill, if you require assistance, it's called 250% defense based damage. You get 5 caustic remarks. So caustic remarks are a new type of debuff and it increases damage amount taken by 20%, and if owning shield, increases by an additional 10%. So from the sound of it, that is all damage amount, not just defense percentage. So 9's partner ego skill will help like anyone who does damage. And then lastly, onto the memory fragments. Up on the screen right now, I'm going to be showing the 2 new sets that we got on the live stream. So first we have Beast Yearning plus 30% damage amount to Justice and Order exhaust attack cards, which is a 4-piece set. And then we got Glory's Reign set, which is when generating or using exhaust skill cards plus 15% to damage amount of all allies. So ideally for 9, you're going to be wanting to run the 4-piece Beast Yearning set because that applies to Order and 9 is Order. Plus she exhausts a ton, especially with her Hue card. That's going to be more damage for her Hue card. And then for the extra last 2 slots, you're going to be wanting to run a 2-piece defense set since she scales off of defense. So 4-piece Beast Yearning set and then 2-piece defense percentage set. And yeah, I think that's everything you need to know about 9's full kit and what she does. When she actually officially releases into the game, we'll be able to test her. I'm pulling for her because I just got my first batch of the content creator program gems, which on the live stream they said they are looking for content creators. So if you want to apply to the content creator program, up on the screen right now, I'm going to be showing how many gems you could potentially get every few weeks as free to play in just a content creator and making content on the game. So if you're interested in that, I suggest going to the Stove Creators program website and signing up. But yeah, I definitely will be pulling for 9 so I can make you guys content and videos and tell you if she's worth it to pull or not. And yeah, I think that'll be the end of the video. If this video was informative, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Any type of support on the channel, I really much appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 2K subs, so if you think subscribing to me would not help me a lot, in reality it actually would. Even if it is 1, I appreciate everyone who has subscribed and supported my channel so far. And if you want to stay up to date with everything CZN related, I suggest you go and follow the channel. But yeah, and that's it. Until then, take care, peace, and be safe.